Today we will be discussing 5 habits / 5 things that you can do or start doing today, right now, to help you become a homeowner sooner rather than later, because we know it's rough out there, you guys, for first-time home buyers. Things have been unaffordable and they've continued to get even more unaffordable. But to be honest, man, I was just re-listening to Zillow's prediction for home prices, and we're not going to go into the housing market. Go back and watch some of our recent videos if you want to hear about the market and what it's doing and what we think it will do. So we're not going to go into the housing market today, but I just want to say, looking at Zillow's predictions, and a lot of predictions, it looks like home prices are going to be going up this year slower than they have been, much slower, but there really isn't a lot of signs of home prices just plummeting or dropping and things becoming way more affordable all of a sudden. So all of that to say is, we know it's rough, but we want to help empower you with the best tips we can give you to help make homeownership a dream, because homeownership is still worth it. Okay?
The feds are doing what they can. The feds are doing what they can to lower the inflation rate. The thing is, rather than a 16-20% year-over-year increase homeowners are gaining, we're only looking at 3 to 6% this year, which, still is a great year historically. On average, an 8% increase year-over-year was an outstanding year. We have just been in historical times, and we are used to buying a home 2 years later, having $150,000 in equity, and living our lives and being happy. But it is rough. Like you were saying, it's a harder market, I feel like, than ever. Even pre-pandemic or running into that era when we were seeing multiple offers. I think I would rather be in an era where things are moving rather than things being stood still, because mindsets change, and even realtors, our perspectives change. Because when there are slowdowns, that means there's less rate of exchanges. So the money, it's not being spent. So there will be some implications that this is causing, and as long as these interest rates stay and remain in the 7%, it's going to be a tough road for brokers, buyers, and just, I think, economically. Because, sellers, you're going to have to expect more average days on market and just be willing and ready to find that right buyer and be patient with it. Where it gets in trouble is when a seller needs to sell right now and they're used to having a 7-day closing, or not a 7-day closing, but a 7-day open period to receive offers. Those days are still here, but I really do feel like there's a massive slowdown right now. And just statistically, 2 weeks ago, the NAR came out with the amount of realtors leaving the business, and historically, we have declined. The figure is insane. I think they reverted it back to the mass exodus in 2008 when that massive crash was happening. So if you're doing business, though, and you're a realtor like us and just have a top producing team, you just got to keep going, keep grinding. There's always going to be sellers and there's always going to be clients. Yeah. You just have to go pick out and find the right one. Yeah. Now I'm speaking to realtors. Yeah. That's not really geared towards you guys. But what we are trying to say, our main point, I believe, is take these tips into your life and bring them into an application of some sort to make there become value. Yeah. And that's what a good broker is going to do. We want to provide you guys, our audience, with value. Yeah. So I guess who today's video is for really is the person who's like, you know what? It's tough. It's tough to save for, this first time buyer price range when home prices have gone up so much and all of the things going on. But homeownership is still a dream. I still see value in homeownership. I understand that the person with, who buys a house and then 5 years later versus the person who doesn't is going to have higher net worth. There is so much value in homeownership, even when it's expensive and tough. Absolutely. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day who was saying how, I'm looking at places to rent, and these are like the lowest that you could find in our area, rents. And it was, $1,500 a month. And she was saying, I don't want to pay that for rent. I want to buy. And I'm just saying, like, to find a mortgage for $1,500 a month, it's hard finding rent for $1,500 a month in our area. Yeah. But it's also real hard to find a mortgage for that. I don't know that that's going to happen. But I do think that homeownership is a dream, or a dream. It's a goal. Let's not say a dream. It's a goal, because that's more, something that can happen. It's gotten harder than ever right now. It's gotten harder, but you can do it. So enough rambling. Let's get into these habits. Okay. Habit number 1 to help you become a homeowner sooner rather than later is
Automatic savings. Have a separate account that is just for your down payment for your house, whether that's your first house or your next house. That is always a good idea. And in the way that I see it for this account, the money in there, it doesn't exist. If you're in a pickle and you really need the money, then you pretend it doesn't exist and live like you're broke, even though maybe you have like 20 grand in that account. You still live like you're broke because that money does not exist. It's only for your down payment. So that's what that account is for. And you automatically contribute whatever it is that you can to it every month so that it grows.
And the way to do that and realistically think about how you can save enough for a potential down payment or current closing costs is you need to be able to percentage your annual or monthly income. That's going to be huge for you guys. So if you don't currently know how much you're making per month or averages on throughout your 12 month a year, you need to figure out and calculate that because that's going to be crucial. I mean, on average, what does Dave Ramsey say? Your mortgage should only be 30% of your total income.
30%, yeah.
So off of that, I mean, you really can structure your finances to be smart and set up accordingly to save up for a first-time home buyer position. Because one of the major things that we go through is our clients not having enough funds to purchase the house. And it's really heartbreaking because I see your job, I see your income, you've shown your W-2s to the lender. There's absolutely no reason, a lot of us Americans especially, should not be able to afford a home right now, or especially put a down payment on that home. It's just people are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's all about spending habits and where you're putting your money.
Yeah.
So figure out that now.
Right. So I think that in a lot of cases, just because of how expensive everything's gotten, if you really want to buy a house or be a homeowner sooner rather than later, I really think that doing that, which forces you to live below your means and make some sacrifices, might be what it takes to get you to homeownership, which again, it's very worth it. Okay. Right. But habit number two to have is to help you become a homeowner as soon as you can be, is constantly educate yourself. I'm weary to say about the housing market because, that could go down a whole rabbit hole when there's so much noise, whatever. But more than that, educate yourself about what you need to know about the process, anything involved in homeownership, real estate. This is going to help you make the best, most informed decision possible once you are ready to go. Quick plug, head over to our channel. We have a playlist that is just for first-time home buyers, and you can learn anything you need to know about buying a house for your first time or for, whether you want to live there or as an investment or both. We talk about that. Hey,
Mariah, how long have we been doing these videos, podcasts, and radio show form?
We have years worth of free content and valuable resources for you. So go take advantage.
Years worth.
Yeah. You could go buy a course or you could go to our channel and check out that playlist. Habit number 3. This sounds simple, but just simply paying off your credit card every month and just keeping your credit up.
Yeah. Right now, just because the economy has definitely changed. It's become so different, and there's fear out there. I am pulling the Dave Ramsey route. I mentioned his name earlier already, but get rid of your debts. Okay, pay off your debts while you can, and then now just start using your debit cards or cash. Just you can keep your credit cards. Don't close the accounts. Chop your cards. Forget about them. And then, when things change in your life, go order a new one with your bank. But that's my advice, though, when it comes to credit. Get out of debt and stay out of debt right now. Don't be buying anything flashy. You really don't need it because we really have a big uncertainty. That's not even real estate related, okay? Just in our finances and our money in our small businesses. And keep in mind, 2024 is coming up. That is an election year, guys. So there's always madness, I should say, and especially with the current candidates running. Yes, it creates polls. It creates something, the atmosphere. People get excited in some ways. But there's this mass confusion as to where we're headed and what direction is best for our country. So get out of debt while you can. I can't say that enough. We are personally doing that, and that's just being open and honest with you guys. If you got credit debt, finish making your full payment. Pay off that statement balance today. Don't wait for the next round.
Pay your car off.
Because you don't know what next month really can hold, honestly. Things can really change that drastically. So When we saw rates go up to 7%, things are changing drastically in this real estate market.
Yeah, I think the word that keeps coming to mind for this show really is sacrifices. And we don't really like that. We want things to just be easy. We don't want to have to make sacrifices, especially when they're hard and they can be, the, harder path or whatever. But I really do think that in order for homeownership to become a reality for a lot of first-time buyers with the way things have gotten in the market right now, I do think that is what it's going to take is sacrifices. I don't think it's going to come as easily. And again, I will keep saying this because I just believe in homeownership so much. And I really, really think it is worth it. It's worth it in the long run for your building equity and sheltering income and the net worth, all of it. I just know that it's worth it, but it will, I think, take sacrifices versus when it, didn't take as many before.
Yeah, now more than ever.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so thing number 4 to do is take a look at your largest expenses. What are your biggest expenses that you have every single month? And is there any way you can cut them down? Now, I know it's not always as easy as that, but is there any way you could cut them down during this season while you are like hardcore saving for that house?
Yeah.
Sacrificing for that house. What can you do? Can you downsize to a smaller apartment or crappier apartment? No one wants to do that, but for a season.
Realistically, you can look at it this way. For instance, we have a yard and I like keeping it green. Do I sacrifice my water bill? Maybe I could save $75 over the next 4 months. Well, that just saved me, roughly $400 for that year. And that's just simply cutting down on my water usage. Now, that's I would say a lazy example, but a practical example as to how you can save a little bit of coin per month. Your utility expenses, sometimes can get out of hand. Now, I got everything on auto payment. You guys might be as well. But really look at your statement and see where you're at with your utilities. Now, if you think it's high, let's correct it and save yourself maybe a couple $100 a month. All your subscriptions, Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, ESPN. I know if you're on a renewal, there's always a choice. You can press auto renew. Now that charges you, maybe a year in advance. Maybe go month by month right now. Who knows? But that is simple, practical things you can be doing, though, to save monthly. And this could ultimately save you hundreds of dollars. Check your car insurance. If your rate's too high, go shopping. Ask around. See if you can save a couple $100 here and there. We just did that 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, actually, because I was just feeling like my insurance was just too high. And so I called somebody up that I knew, a buddy I went to high school with, and I wanted to give him business in reality. So there's simple things we can be doing if we really think about it and take the time to do it.
The 5th thing you can do if you are really set on becoming a homeowner as soon as you possibly can be, even though it can be hard right now, is increase your income. Is there anything at all you can do, whether that is, and I know, obviously if increasing your income was just that simple and easy, everybody would be doing it. So don't, roll your eyes at me. I'm full aware of that. This could look like many different things. For us in our industry, an example of increasing your income is raising our average price point. Now, that doesn't just happen. Obviously, this is something we spent years and years of being very, very, very intentional about to try to get to. But I think that increasing your income is always the fastest, quickest, and best way to be able to reach your goals and save versus just cutting expenses. Because although that is needed sometimes, it can only get you so far.
Can you give a couple practical examples of increasing your income?
Yes. So maybe, you're not a realtor in our situation, but what can you do? Can you sign up for DoorDash? Can you go feed people's dogs on rover.com? I feel like right now in 2023, it has never been easier to just pick up a side hustle because we downloaded as newlyweds, we were 19 and 20. We downloaded an app on our phone called Airbnb and rented out our 2 spare bedrooms in a house that we didn't even own at the time and made money from it. Like there are so many things that literally anyone can do. You can go feed people's dogs on Rover. You can drive DoorDash. You can drive Uber. I don't know. There's a lot. Uber Eats. There's so many different apps that you can just very low entry
and you
sign
your
up
hours.
for. You can do it if you want to do it all night. Do it all night. Like there is so much where if you're like, I know obviously these aren't like super high paying things, but there are things that if you're like, I'm really need extra income, you can go make it happen. It's up to you.
Yeah.
So get another job. I mean, get a roommate. Like there's so many things. And again, these are all sacrifices. A lot of them are sacrifices, but homeownership is worth sacrificing for if you have to during the season. Like I think a lot of people will. So that's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're here to be doom and gloom. It's more about looking optimistically as to what you can do to be a competitor and actually win in this market. Because when there are swing times, this is the best time for you guys to create opportunity. I was just on an appointment yesterday, a listing appointment, and this young man, he's paying a great rent price for a full home. It's like $1,250 in a great area on like an acre lot. And I said, don't leave this place until you simply are kicked out or you can't live here anymore.
Yeah.
Because the price he's paying really is unheard of. So did I tell him to continue renting? Yes. But ultimately I said, here's the deal. Your landlord, your owner, he's not even from here. He doesn't want any interest in this property anymore. Create a deal. Structure something with him that makes sense. Now, here's the real market value of this property. I gave him a CMA and said, if you can get this price for this home, buy it right now or create some type of carry deal, and that is where you can become instantly wealthy. Instantly wealthy. And ideally, he just loved that idea. Like the fact that you can create hundreds of thousands of dollars in one deal. It changes your life. It's like winning the lottery, but having no other competitors competing with. I mean, my chances to win the lottery are so slim. So when you're sitting under a roof, you are blessed. You are taken care of in some sense. And we live in America, and that is one thing that I just don't think should ever happen for anybody. Now, work. We talk about work. How can you become employed or make more money to gain a down payment and buy a house right now? Well, raise your hand. Everywhere is hiring. Okay, don't sit back because you might think you're too qualified. I was sitting with a nurse, and I love sharing my experiences. There's a nurse. She's been in school for 10, 12 years. You know, she's 40-something years old now. And there was a time when 3 years ago things shut down, she had no work, or she refused to do the things that she didn't believe in. So she stood up for herself. Well, guess where she went? She went to the bedside of elderly. She changed people. She did what she had to do to get by because she didn't have any income and she needed income. So that is one thing I think that we really need to express to our audiences, ourselves included. What are you willing to do to make things happen? Whether that's sitting where you're at right now and paying your low rent, because you know it's low if it's low. Don't leave that situation unless there's a good opportunity there. But do what you can do to sacrifice and make things happen in your life and get you wealth. Okay, we can't be fools out here going and buying these new constructed homes, stretching ourselves so thin. We're on a commission-based income, and we're understanding we're hitting at the top of this mountain here. Now, there's always a down slope we got to hit. It might go back up because I love riding down the mountain again, going up and down, up and down. But we have to understand where we're at, okay? Now, Mariah's looking at me like, hey, let's stop talking.
No.
That is my motivation.
I just don't have anything to add myself.
That is my motivation to you. Maybe that's my coffee kicking in, but it is a real thought and a real thing, okay?
I love it. That's good.
Sacrifice something.
Yeah.
I know I am.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was beautiful. Good job. I hope you grab value from today's video. We come on here every week, so we'll see you next week.